Hi there, and welcome to the Pearls from My Mom podcast. Every mom has special pearls of wisdom she passes on to her kids. In this podcast, we'll be talking about those pearls of wisdom, as well as the life lessons that our moms have passed down to us. We will be sharing to keep the legacy alive. Hello, and welcome to Pearls from My Mom. I'm your host, Jessica Hott, and I am really happy and thankful that we have this guest here today. She did something I can't even imagine doing, and it's put a lot of things into perspective for me. You know, I can't imagine growing up without my mother, and she's spent a good portion of her life without hers, and she has taken the lemons that life has given her and absolutely turned it into lemonade. So what an inspiring story. I can't wait to hear it. Let's talk to Toye Releford-Penny, who is a holistic health and lifestyle coach for busy moms. Hi, Toye. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is something quite different to talk about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's not something that people generally talk about on an all day, everyday basis, unless you're me. But but I'm really happy that you're here to tell us about your mom. So why don't you jump into it? Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about your mom?
Okay, so let's see here. My mom died when I was 9 years old, and she died of lupus. My understanding is that lupus sort of ran in my family. So my grandfather died of it, my grandmother's husband, which is my mom's dad. And then I also have a cousin who died. She's one of my first cousins, and she died from it, I can say about 5 years ago. So it runs in my family. And there was, I can say, there's no knowledge of lupus a long time ago, back in the 80s and 90s. And so nowadays, people are living with it a lot better and a lot easier than they did back then. Let's see. So my mom died when I was 9, like I said earlier, which she honestly knew that she was going to die. I had an older sister, and we weren't raised together, only because my mom was really sick with my older sister, and so she raised her for a bit, and then when I came along, my sister went to stay with my grandmother, and then I stayed with my mom. But majority of the time, I had godparents, and I stayed with my godparents. So I didn't really, I was with my mom, but I really wasn't with her like all the time, because she was really, because she was sick. But from what I can remember, I remember her being sick, and I remember me like having to be at the age of 7 to like cook full course meals. I remember having to go to the grocery store and go grocery shopping. I remember actually she taught me how to write a check, and I remember writing a check for groceries and bringing it back home, and or bringing the groceries back home and putting them away, as well as starting to cook and prepare the meals. So I actually had to grow up a little bit sooner than normal, if you would say.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, it sounds like so. Well, can you tell me what your mom's name was?
Her name was Sandra. Sandra. Sandra.
Okay. And how old was she when she passed away?
So she was 30, almost 31 when she passed away.
Gosh, that's so young.
So young. And I just, next month I'll be 36. So I'll be like, wow, I'm like, wow. I thank God every day for allowing me to make it, past. But 30, man, you're even in your 20s, you're still trying to find yourself and figure out. But in 30, when you hit 30, it's something about that special age of 30. And at 30, she lost her life. So that's something else. I think back on it and I'm like, wow, it's crazy.
So
yeah.
I know, like, my son right now is 9, so I'm trying to think of him being the age that he is now. So how much do you remember of her? And was she always sick? Like, is all of your memories of her, or are they from her being sick?
No, all of my memories from her is not always being sick. She was very talented, very talented. She sang a lot. She sang in church a lot. She was a seamstress. She was a nurse. She was a beautician. I mean, she just had so many talents. And she modeled a lot. I mean, she was very glamorous, very gorgeous, very laid back, but very motivated to make it in something in life. And as from what I know, I look back at like her. I saw like a couple of magazines that she was in, newspaper articles, just all that. And I look back and like, wow, like I took a lot from her because I love fashion. I have so many talents. I also love to sing. I mean, there's so many. Now, I'm not a nurse and I don't play the piano like she did, but I love fashion. I love so many things that she loved. So yeah, it's like she passed it on.
For sure. Well, you're in health. I mean, you work in holistic health. So that's like being a nurse, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. So because you didn't have much time together, what was your relationship like with your mom?
I love my mom. I love my mom so much. I can remember, like I said, I was with my godparents for a lot of the time. She wanted me to be more of in a married couple's life. And so my godparents were, they were husband and wife. And so I stayed there. They helped me with homework and just all that stuff. But I can recall on one particular time. So here's where my life basically took a downfall. So I remember telling my godmother that I wanted to be adopted by her. And I was 8. I was 8 years old. And what she told me was, that's wonderful. But she was like, don't try not to mention that to your mom because that would really hurt her feelings. And she would probably come and take you away. I remember her saying that. Well, I remember one day my mom called from the hospital and she said, and I told her, I was disobedient, and I told her I want to be adopted by Pearl. And no lie, I probably within the next hour, she came and got me. And I remember crying for days. I remember crying for like 2 or 3 days that she came and got me. And then the next thing you know, she asked me, did I want to go spend a night over my Uncle Vincent's house, which was her brother. And so I went, spent a night over there, and I ended up living there. So little did I know that there were things going on behind the scenes as far as like she was trying to work it out for me to live with somebody because she knew that she was going to pass away. For me to live with somebody who had a 2-family home, a 2-parent home. And so she had arranged with my Uncle Vincent and his wife that I go stay with them because she knew that she was going to pass away.
Oh, that's so hard. And that kids say like whatever comes to their mind, so, you had no idea it was going to be hurtful, or you had no idea that she was, I mean, kids can't know that kind of thing. So that's really,
exactly.
Tough.
Oh, so, it's really tough.
Oh, I can imagine. So a lot of the stuff that you know about her, do you have to have your family help you kind of piece together some things about her and her past, or?
So the thing is, I'm really trying to figure, as I get older, I'm sort of digging deeper, and it's really me because I'm frustrated on my end because no one is really telling me anything. Like even my grandmother. I was actually, so I stayed with my uncle from 9 all the way to 13, and then I moved with my grandmother at 13. But while I was staying with my uncle, he had this wife. And she was more of like a stepmother, like an evil stepmother. And so I just didn't, I didn't like staying there. But he was trying to keep my mom's wishes. And so he wanted to continue on raising me because that's what she requested. So they legally adopted me. And so, anyway, he finally went ahead and let me go move with my grandmother at the age of 13. But even to this day, like no one really tells me anything. It's like a big secret. I don't know why. And I know the older generation, all this stuff, they hide secret. They're not really open about conversations that hurt. And so when I ask, like no one really says anything. Now I do have uncles, and they always tell me, "Boy, you are just like your mom. Your mom was so different. Like she like different type of clothes, and she like different. You are just like your mom." Everyone tells me that, but no one like really goes and dives in deep and tells me, tell me like, oh, she did this or she did this. So I have to really find it out for myself. Um,
That
yeah.
must be hard. I wonder if they're trying to protect you, and maybe they think if they talk about it, it's going to hurt you more. But I think it's hard to not know things. So I would think, from your
Exactly.
perspective, it'd be better to know the things.
I think, and so when I was with my uncle, I'm sort of rewinding back. I'm jumping all over the place. Sorry, but when I was with my uncle, I remember like one moment they said she was in the hospital. So I was like, oh. Next moment, he's like, I need to talk to you. I remember being after school. He's like, I need to talk to you. And I remember sitting down. We was outside, and I remember sitting down on the curb. And he said, your mom died. I didn't get to see her. I didn't get to nothing, like nothing. So like I guess they were trying to protect me, but really, they hurt me. Like I didn't, nothing. Like no one tells me anything, nothing.
Well, that's so hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. So it's like I said, one moment it's like she's sick. The next moment she died. The next couple of days I'm attending her funeral. So I'm just like, I don't know, it was just like thrown at me. So I remember being at her funeral, and I remember, crying my eyes out, and I remember like, Lord, why is this happening to me? I didn't quite understand what was going on. I didn't, even to this day, like I said, I don't quite understand as far as on their behalf. Now I understand now because I'm an adult, and I do understand that things happen for a reason. And I don't understand, and I know, God's will is God's will. So it could have been, he took her for a reason, for my life, but who knows? And only he knows. But it's so frustrating because, like I said, it's just no one tells me anything. So I'm having to. I just signed up for Ancestry.com, and I'm really trying to dig deep and find out who I am. On top of that, I didn't know my dad until my senior year in high school. So I lived basically without both parents. I grew up without both parents, and that was hard. That's hard.
Yeah. Did you get I guess you might not have felt like you had a sense of where you came from, or...
Exactly. Still struggling to this day, trying to figure out where I came from. Like I said, I just did Ancestry.com, and without anyone telling me, like I said, like even my grandmother, she feels like, I guess it might be a hurtful thing. And so she feels as though she doesn't want to, she doesn't open those doors. She doesn't say anything. So if I asked, she'd just be like, boy, your mother was a wonderful lady or whatever. She doesn't really go into detail and tell me really about her. There was no things left of her. Everyone split up all of her belongings and just all that stuff. There was nothing. I remember getting Social Security when I was in school, and I remember that's how I got my first car at the age of 17. And so I remember that, but then it just stopped after that. So it's like no one. It's just have me lost, just absolutely lost.
I can imagine. Do you have anything of hers at all, like a trinket?
My godmother finally contacted me, and I have pictures. I have pictures now of when I was a little girl. I have pictures of me getting christened, and my mom was holding my godparents' hand. They were praying, and like God, and the pastor had me like up in the sky, and I saw tears running down my mom's face. Like that gave me closure. When I saw that picture, it's actually about 3 months ago when I got that picture. It gave me closure because I was like, wow, I was loved, I was loved by my mom. That showed me how deep her love was for me. And just from that picture, it spoke volumes. From that one piece of picture, that one little look, to see those tears rolling down her face, that showed me that I was blessed.
Oh, for sure. Your
Yeah.
story is heartbreaking, first of all. I mean, I think all the
Yeah.
stories that get told here are heartbreaking, but I feel like you might be the one whose mom died when they were the youngest that I've talked to so far.
Hmm.
My mom died when I was 35, so I was really lucky. I got to have her. She's been gone for
Right.
years now. So I got to have her all through, her guidance and all of that. And so how
Right.
has that shaped you as a human being and as a woman, not having had her guidance, physically with you there?
Well, let me tell you, I can honestly say I had some voids. My first child was born when I was 17. I was 16 when I got pregnant with her, and 17 when I had her. So now she's 18, going on 19 next month. I have a 3-year-old. I got married about 4 years ago, and so we have a 3-year-old and I have a 5-month-old, and all three of my babies are girls. So honestly, right now, in this point in my life, I help other women in their lives, but I also need help in my life as well. Because I'm seeking guidance, and I guess because I didn't have that motherly role, and so like to this day, I talk to a family therapist, just so that I can get guidance from her, or have someone that can listen to me, because, I juggle so many roles and just all this stuff that you don't have anybody really to, that listen to you. Yeah, my husband is my husband, but you know how men are. They don't, they listen, but they don't listen. And then they don't, I'm a deep diver. So he don't really dive deep. And so I really want to dive deep and figure out, where sometimes the pain comes from or the emotions come from or whatever. And so, but I can say that there were some voids. There was definitely some voids growing up. And no, she did. I didn't get any, words of wisdom from her. I didn't get no knowledge. And I can say last year, I stepped out on the line, and I normally don't do this, but I stepped out on the line and I visited her gravesite for the very first time. The very first time since I was 9 years old. And wow, it was emotional, because I'm not feeling. I haven't felt the pain until now. Really, I can
Mhm.
honestly say that I have not felt the pain. Um, I think maybe my teens, my 20s, and all that was sort of survival, but it's hit me now. It's hit me more than ever now. And that's because of my role as a mom, my role as a wife, my role as, a business owner, and so many different other roles. It's starting to really take a toll on me now. And so, like I said, I stepped out on the line and I visited her gravesite for the very first time. Hadn't been there since that happened. And when I got there, she didn't even have a headstone. She didn't even have a headstone. So the guy sort of like guided me through the cemetery, and he was like, "Do you want me to put a flag there?" He put a flag where she was, like an orange, where they do the electrics or something, the electrical, things in the ground. He put the orange little flag there so that I'll know where her spot was. But she didn't have a headstone or anything.
Does she have a headstone now?
No.
Oh man. Do you want to get her headstone?
Yes, I really want to look into getting her headstone. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, golly, like, I don't know. And I don't know, it's frustrating because the lack of knowledge that my family even, I mean, they don't even want, no one even knows about lupus. No one knows like where it comes from. No one knows, like, it's just no one knows anything. To me, if something happens to me or somebody I love, I want to research it. I want to figure out, so nobody else won't get it, or, I want to figure out where this come from. Let's get to the root of the problem. That's just me. Let's get to the root of the problem. But it's like no one's talking about anything. No one says anything. It's so secretive, and that's so frustrating to me. That is so frustrating.
I've talked to a few people where their families are kind of, I guess it must be like, well, if we don't talk about it, it's not real, or like if we don't talk about it, then we don't have to think about it. Uh,
Exactly.
and that's so
Exactly.
like counter to what I think. I see a therapist as well. and I advocate for therapy. The last episode I did was with a therapist, and I think it's so important. And I actually didn't really connect with my first therapist, and I didn't know why. And then I got a second one, and I figured out because she's older, and it's almost like she's kind of like a mom figure to me now, you know? And I can run things by her. And I would imagine that would be, you know, as you turn into a mom, especially at the age of 17, that must have been really scary for you.
It was very scary.
Who did you look to for guidance? I mean, how did you?
Okay, so I can say my grandmother was she's a strong individual. She's very strong. And I can say, other than talking about my mom and just all that stuff, that lady is a powerful lady. I mean, that lady, she's awesome. That was really that was like my motherly figure, you know. Even to this day, my grandmother is like 75, but she looked like she in her 40s, I promise. And she works really hard. She's an entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur. So that's really where the work ethic comes from for me. She got married. Remember back in those days, that was acceptable. She got married at 16. She had 5 children by her husband. So what she told me was, you know, I made it at 16, and I know that you can make it too. So she supported me. She helped me. Not to mention my child's father's parents. They helped as well. So I had a lot of support growing up. And so my grandmother she ran a daycare. And so that's who kept my child while I was in school. So I made sure I graduated top of my class. I remember going to tutoring in summer. I was trying to get every piece of information, every piece of knowledge that I could. And then I went on to, okay, so I'm gonna back up. So I tried to go off to college, and everybody was like, no, you got a kid. You can't go far away. You know, you need to stay close by. So I listened to everybody else, and I stayed close by. So anyway, I went off to massage therapy school and got my license in that, started working at this place. And 2 years later, the lady propositioned me and asked me if I wanted to buy the business. So I was like, wow. So I knew that I wanted to become a business owner, but I didn't know that early, so soon. So anyway, by the age of 23, I had my first business. I was a business owner with 20 employees and a whole building, lots of bills and all this stuff. And I was just like, wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So my first business, I owned a spa at the age of 23, sold it at the age of 30. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
When people came to talk to you, were they ever like, is the owner here? And you're like,
yeah, exactly. And what was crazy was I was younger than all of my staff, you know? I mean, so everybody was like, wow, like it just came out of nowhere. So I owned this business and was working hard and was able to sell this business at the age of 30. I'm about to be 36 now next month, and I am on my second business. And I was able to sell the business and be free, and profit from it. And I think I use work to fill that void, I think, and then another thing, like something that I discovered, or something that my therapist and I discovered, we discovered that she said, you use abandonment with other people because you were abandoned, when you were a child. Excuse me. So I'm sort of like a zero tolerance person. Like if you don't, if you're not adding to my life, I sort of dismiss you. And I don't even have to tell you I dismiss you. I just leave, or I don't call you, or I don't answer your call. And I'm like, what? I don't know why. I'm like, why am I like that? But anyway, so I discovered that's sort of like a defense mechanism.
For sure.
For myself.
Oh, I think that makes total sense. You had mentioned before, you thought that maybe you were kind of just surviving. You didn't really, you didn't have time to grieve, probably. You probably didn't know how to grieve. And that's why you said it's hitting you so hard now, which totally makes sense to me. Now you have I mean, I know you're still running a business now, but you have a little bit of time to breathe and reflect. And mid-30s are kind of funny. I'm 38. So like mid-30s are kind of funny because you are kind of reflecting on where you've been and where you'd like to be.
Exactly.
And I think that, you're probably just kind of mulling it all over now, and that makes total sense why it's hitting you now.
Yeah. And it's like, wow. Like, so, I can definitely say, like I told you before, didn't know my dad until my senior in high school, and then not having my mom around. People have, they failed. I don't know. I can say that they failed. And even like the therapist, excuse me, had said to me, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Your mom died, and it's not my fault." I constantly blamed myself, like, well, why did everybody leave? Even my godparents? I have no idea. They just stopped calling me after a while. They just, everybody just stopped calling after a while. After my mom left, it's like everybody died down. Their responsibilities was no more, I guess. And they knew that I was with my grandmother, so they just, I guess, let her tend to it or whatever. But, it's just like, I just constantly ask why, and no one has answers.
Yeah.
No one has answers.
Yeah. I don't know that you'll ever get answers.
I probably won't. Yeah.
Not about why. I mean, I ask, I think everybody kind of is like, why? I mean, it's a terrible thing to happen. So, but it sounds like you've really worked hard to, make the best of it. There really, you could have gone either way. You could have turned into a total degenerate. You could have, like you could have really not made the best out of the situation, but it sounds like you really did. And I think that that's a true testament to the kind of person that you are. And hopefully, people say you're just like your mom. So hopefully there's some of that in there for sure.
Exactly. And I definitely want to say, like, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she asked me, like, she's like, man, if I had your life, I would be depressed. But just like you said, it could have gone either way. And one thing, I know you say you're going to ask me this later, but I think I want to say now, the one thing that I could definitely say to my mom is, I made it. I made it. Like, whoo, that's bringing tears to my eyes. Like, I made it. Despite everything that happened, despite, you gone, despite everybody, like, I made it. I still made it,
Yeah, absolutely. You're a huge success story for sure. And that's all you, the nice thing is you can take all the credit for that. So
exactly. And I can honestly say the grace of God that kept me through, because just like you said, I could have went the other way. Mm-hmm. I could have, I could have went so many different ways, but I made it. And so I'm grateful, and I know that she'll be proud today. I know. And it's like, I constantly work hard right now to make her proud. I know that she'd be proud. I know that she would. Yeah.
For sure.
I know that she would.
So it's interesting to me. Is there anything that you can do now to keep her memory alive for yourself or for your 3 girls? Because they never got to meet her. I mean, shoot, you're only 9. So like, how do you try to make her a part of your life, or do you?
I do. I talk about her a lot. Her birthday is in August the 16th. And so that's actually coming up. I don't make like a big deal and celebrate my cake or whatever. But to me right now, it's more internally. And like I said, last year was my first time visiting the gravesite. And I am a believer that, they're dead. They can't really hear me. So I don't really go and visit the site or whatever. But I know that her spirit, lives on. And I know that she lives in me. I definitely know that. And like I said, I definitely know that that she would be proud. And all that I can do is I want to talk and educate to my girls about her. I don't really know much about her, but I do want to, at least let them know her name or whatever, or, boy, you got hair just like your grandma Sandra or whatever, because I do remember she had really long, beautiful hair. And so that's basically all I can do. I'm reading this book right now called Motherless Daughters. Mm-hmm. And I just started actually, and I really love it. I'm getting a lot from it. Yeah, I'm getting a lot from it.
Oh, for sure. That's by Hope Edelman. If I would imagine most people, like, if they go seeking resources, that's probably the first one that comes up. So I highly recommend that book. And they have a Facebook group that, I mean, there's a whole,
Really?
yeah, there's a whole following along with it. So I think it's needed. It's funny because, like, when my mom passed away, it was only 3 years ago, but I knew that I had friends whose moms had passed away, but nobody ever really talked about it. And so I kind of just felt alone. I didn't feel like it's not something that you bring up to people, because usually if I say something, oh, my mom passed away, in conversation, people are like, oh God. And you can just see their face, like,
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going to move away from this conversation.
Right.
But for me, I like talking about it. Not the event of her death, although I have talked about it on the show before, but like, it just talking about her makes me feel like she's a part of her is still here with me. And it makes me feel like I'm keeping that legacy alive. I don't want her to fade away. And that's the whole reason I started the show. So.
Right. And I can say, man, the older I get, and like I said, this is sort of these two younger kids that I have. This is sort of my second win, my chance, because like I said, I was a teenage mom. So this is, I'm actually, married, and we plan these kids. On this day we're getting pregnant, both kids. So that's quite different. And I can definitely say, boy, like, I don't take a mother's role lightly. Like, I really don't. Like, I take parenting super serious, and I don't take my role as a mother lightly at all, because it's such an important role. It's such an important role. And that's one of the reasons why, I really wanted to work with mothers, with busy working moms, because, man, we do so much and we lose ourselves while we're doing that. And so, I basically want to, help you bring it back, and understand that you are important too. You are important first before your kids. And I think a lot of us lose that, and we forget, because we put our kids first, and then and not ourselves. And I can say, I don't know my mom's financial history. I didn't know her medical history. I don't know, but I can honestly say, if she had put herself first, maybe she'd be here today. Who knows?
That's it's interesting. Like, you said it was lupus, and I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about it. But you did say it runs in your family.
Mm-hmm.
So is that
from what I know?
Okay, yeah, because you said they don't talk about it much. Is that something that you're concerned about for yourself or for your own daughters, or?
I think about it for my own daughters, but I constantly, girl, when I was, like I said, I just had a baby 6 months. She just turned 6 months yesterday. I had a baby 6 months ago, and I constantly prayed and meditated over her in the womb. And I just believe that, what's meant to be will happen. And if it gets here, we'll have to deal with that then. But I constantly get checked, and no one says, you're good, perfectly healthy. No, I've never been sick, never had no illness, never had no surgery, never had anything. And it's the lifestyle that I live. And that's why I want to educate on lifestyle as well. But I think since losing my mom, I have made that vow to myself. Like, I've never in my life had a drink nor smoked. Like, I've never. I just made a vow to myself that I'm gonna be healthy. I'm not gonna do things and put things in my body that harms me. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Because I love myself. Yeah.
For sure. I was curious about that because, like you said, I mean, you lost her when you were so young, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Kind of made you, I mean, and obviously you're in the health profession now, so I think that makes total sense that,
Exactly.
Well,
so I made that vow to myself. I would never, and to this day, I'm 36 now, never had a drink in my life, never had a smoke in my life. So I choose not to. I just don't want to. But like I said, I don't know her situation. I don't know. I wish I did. I didn't know her situation. I really wish I did. I really wish that, honestly, there was somebody like me to tell her, to show her the ways to eat while she was living with this. because you can't teach what you don't know. So I understand they didn't know. So they couldn't teach her because she didn't know. Maybe financially they couldn't afford, doctor or help. I don't know, you know. So, I do understand. I don't fault them for not knowing. It's not their fault. They didn't know. But I'm just saying, like, now, like, come on now. If you know that your daughter died from her, your sister or your niece or whoever, she died from it, get educated so that you won't, or your kids won't, or somebody won't else, somebody else won't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that baffles me, the ignorance that some people may have.
For sure. Well, at the very least, you're breaking the cycle, so that's amazing.
That's what I want to do. Break the cycle, break the chains.
I think that's great. So the heart of the show it's called Pearls from My Mom. So the idea is, there has to be like a pearl of wisdom or something that you learned from your mom. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a phrase, sometimes it is like, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all or something like that. But, a lot of times it ends up just being a way of life. Now, she passed away when you were so young. So do you have a pearl of wisdom from your mom and, something that you could say that helped shape you that came from her?
I can honestly say motivation. I feel as though I picked up where she left off. And I can say like, just to keep going, because her dreams were sort of cut off. They were cut off. And as I mentioned before, she was super talented. But it wasn't supported. It wasn't really supported. Maybe by her family or whatever. It really wasn't supported, so she couldn't flourish it. So I can say motivation, have the motivation within yourself, have the love within yourself to just go after your dreams and do whatever that you want to do. If somebody says you can't do it, yes, I can, and keep going and just do it anyway until you achieve it. Keep going. No one says it's going to be easy, because if it was, then everyone would be doing it. But just keep going. Keep going.
I think that's great. Those are great pearls of wisdom. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I usually ask people about their grieving process, and I would imagine, it's been like 27 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe not so much in the beginning, but you're kind of just, like you said, rediscovering your grieving process right now. So how is it going for you? How are you feeling with it right now?
I think from the past, I was hardened. My emotions were sort of hardened. Maybe from going, having my child at an early age, so got to survive there. Then going to a business owner, so I got to survive there. Bought my first home at 24, got to survive there. Just doing so much that I just kept myself really busy. And, now, and then 5 years ago, going into my second business, just so much, and then marriage and kids and, and just really keeping myself busy. But just like you said, I was able actually to sit down and just, process it all. And, and now I can see, okay, this is where the hurt is. But what I can say is it shows up and it manifests in different areas of my life. It could be my marriage. It could be being so hard in my parenting, or being so hard on myself, because I'm very hard on myself. But it just manifests in so many different ways. And you have to be aware of yourself in order to bring it out and to acknowledge it. Like, oh, that's where that's coming from. So I can definitely say it has hardened me some, and I'm soft in areas. And I think like now I can see like, I don't really have that motherly, like, oh, come here. I do with my baby, but once they get like, I don't know, 3, 4, and 5, it's like, hey, go do it on your own, or, whatever. Now I'll come assist or something, but that motherly, like that softness, like, come here, baby, I don't have that. And so like, I'm yearning for that. I want that, and even to this day, like I can say, also, I was just telling my nanny, like, man, there's no grandmas left where you can drive to the country and, go sit in their lap and eat some food. They cook you some good food and they rub your hair. Like, that's not left. So I yearn for that type of stuff. I yearn for older people. And maybe that's, I know for a fact that's where that comes from. Like, I yearn for like somebody in their 80s or 90s to tell me history or to tell me something. So I even thought about, I'm going to go to a nursing home and just find me a friend or something. I don't know, to just go talk to and get some knowledge from.
That's so interesting because I still have my grandma, but she lives in the States. I live in Canada, so it's not super easy to connect with her. But I teach classes in nursing homes, and you absolutely should go connect. And first of all, they would love it. And you can even bring your baby, and then they would just eat that right up. Like, be all over you. But yeah, if you start asking them, just questions, it's amazing. They light up and they say things like, they talk about when they were raising their own kids and how life was for them. And it's super duper interesting. I totally encourage you. I know that you're already busy with everything else to do.
Oh yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. It's really neat. Contact anybody out there that's looking for a connection, contact your local nursing home and see if you can spend some time volunteering there. It will warm your heart.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it because that's why I said I feel that, like, I yearn for that. It's like nobody around. My grandmother, even though she's not older, she's not that old. She's 75, but she's more of these new school grandparents where she don't really, stay at home and cook. She works a lot, she on the go like all the time. She never answers her phone. She's that type of grandma. Where you're like, golly, answer your phone, And she's like, child, I'm too busy to answer my phone, She's one of those type. So it's like I don't really have that to where you just sit down and just in somebody's lap and caress put your head in their lap and they caress you and just all that. I don't really have that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That makes sense. Go to a nursing home. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
So you mentioned in your grieving process, you had a lot of really great words, and you're actually a health coach. So do you have any advice for people that maybe were in your situation? Maybe they lost their mom a while ago and they haven't really, they got hard into it. They didn't really deal with it, or anybody going through the grieving process. Do you have any advice for them?
Allow yourself to grieve, for one. I know everyone has their outs. But just allow yourself to sit there and sit in the moment and to feel the pain so that you can heal from the pain. There's no way that you can heal the pain if you don't feel it, so you got to sit there and feel it so that you can deal with it so that you can heal it. So I tell my clients, feel, deal, heal. Mm-hmm. Like that, like if you don't feel it, you can't deal with it and it can't heal. So sit there and just feel it, feel the pain and then deal with the pain, sit there and deal with the pain and then find some help if you need to. Reach out so that you can heal the pain and keep moving. I know that if you lose a parent, whether it's your mom or your dad, know that I'm sure they loved you. I'm definitely sure that they loved you. So do something that will make them proud, Yeah, go out and do something to make them proud. And don't harm yourself. I know some people, they just feel like, oh, I can't live on. I can't, my oldest daughter tells me that. If something was ever to happen to you, she tells me that all the time. I don't think I can make it. And I'm like, no, you can. You can. Choose to, choose to. Because we all aren't promised to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't. So at some point we're going to leave, at some point. So we're put here to make an impact and leave. And we were all put here. Whatever type of impact that you leave, or whatever type of agenda that you were meant to do that agenda and then leave a legacy. So I had, let me see, I think it was a couple months ago, I have a cousin who, his wife, she's actually 34. They have 4 children and she passed away of cancer.
Oh my God.
And yeah, she's like 34. And so their oldest daughter was 10. And I can definitely say, boy, like I just start crying for the girl because I'm like, they had 3 girls and 1 boy. The boy was the youngest. And I actually reached out to her dad and said, just talk to her, please. Don't leave her in the dark. Educate her, please, about her mom. Educate her about what happened. Just please educate them because it's not fair. Like I'm still dealing with that. It's not fair to leave them in the dark. And I know that you're probably trying to protect them, but you're really hurting them because they really hurt me instead of protecting me. So I can honestly say that if you know someone that's going through hurt, if you know somebody who has a young child and they have lost their parent, talk to them and educate them. Reach out, spend some time with them, go pick them up, do their hair, whatever. Take them to eat. Take them to pick up a snow cone or ice cream or a lollipop, whatever it is, and just talk to them and educate them on what happened. It may hurt for that moment, but then they'll love you later on.
I think that's great. I think it's really amazing that you could do that for that family, and that I'm sure that little girl, if the family does talk with her, she'll I'm sure she'll end up being in a good headspace about it. So that's really good that you could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. So I feel like we've talked about, all kinds of good things. I know that you said that you believe that she's just gone, right? Like, so do you think that her spirit like visits or anything like that? I usually ask that question just.
I do believe sometimes in dreams I do, I have, dreams about her. Whatever. I can remember now, this is probably a horror story, but I can remember, I don't know why I had this dream when she first died and I was 9. I had a dream that I was walking through some apartments or some, I don't know. I was just walking down the way to apartments and she was in a rocking chair. Like she was rocking back and forth. The door was open to the apartment and it was to my left side. And I looked in there and she was rocking in a rocking chair. And she was like, come here, Toy, come here. And then I came to her and her face was all decaying and everything. And I was crying. I remember crying. And her nails was very long and everything. And she just kept rocking. And then she looked at me and she just said, I love you. I love you. But that's the dream. Like I'm telling you, I was 9, but I still remember that to this day.
I can see how you would remember that. It seems like it stick out, but I mean, that's interesting. Maybe, and I'm not a dream interpreter, although I do want to interview one on the show. So if anybody's a dream,
right.
But I mean, maybe that was like your fear personified, like her decaying and that was your fear. And, I kind of like to believe that when my mom comes to me in a dream, it's actually her spirit coming to me in a dream. That's just my, that's the thing that I believe. And, maybe that was her just comforting your fear. Like, so even though like, yes, this is true, I am gone, but like, I do love you. And maybe that was her comfort.
Right. And I do know, like I said, I do know that things were put in place. So that lets me know she was, she really tried to look out for me. There was a church that we went to when I was little. I forgot to mention this, but there was a church that I went to that when we was little or whatever. And when I was little, and I visited about a year ago. And there were some members that remembered me when I was little. Like even the pastor, everybody, like there's a lot of people that remember me. I was like, boy, your mother was this, they was really telling me stuff. But it was 2 people who came to me and was like, your mother wanted us to take care of you. Like she asked us to take care of you while she was, because she knew that she was going to be gone. And I was like, wow, she was really trying to reach out to, to a lot of people, trying to find, a proper place. But both of them turned her down and said no, because they didn't want to take me away from my family. And then my godmother gave me some report cards that I had when I was little. And when I looked in the report card, I guess she had put all the little notes or what extra, stuff in there. But I was looking and I saw that I guess I was at church with my mom. And I saw her handwriting. Like I saw she was writing down scriptures as the pastor was talking, whatever. But she wrote down, a couple of scriptures. So it was great, and it was great to see her handwriting. I felt as though I was in her presence,
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just really, it's like she's a celebrity to me at this moment because you're constantly trying to find answers. I'm constantly trying to be with her, and when no one answers, no one, but it's like you got to go on your faith, you got to go on your hope, you got to, you just have to continue to dream.
I love it when little stuff like that pops up, and it's so funny that you could like, did you know it was her handwriting before anybody?
Oh, I knew.
That's
It
so
was her
funny.
signature. Yeah, it was her signature. I guess, I don't know. I was drawing in church. Our kids, do stuff when parents like, sit down. So you doing stuff at church, I was drawing or whatever. And I wrote like, I love you, mommy, or whatever. But I saw her scripture writing on the side. So, it's just like, wow, her handwriting, it was so beautiful. I was like, wow.
I love that. I actually have my mom's handwriting tattooed on my foot. My sister has it on her arm. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's something so special about your mom's handwriting. I totally know what you mean. That's neat. So, like, a lot of times I ask people if they have regrets, and I feel like there's a lot in this case because there's a lot of stuff that you don't know. But the biggest thing that you said to me this whole entire time in the interview is about her headstone. So, like you said, you visited her grave for the first time in 26 years. And she didn't have a headstone. Do you know why she didn't have, do you know why her family?
I have no idea. I don't know if they couldn't afford it or, no one to this day, no one tells me anything. So I have no idea why, but you know what? I'm going to look into it and I'm going to invest and do it myself.
I think you should. It's easy for me to say what I think everybody else should. But I mean, if that's, my mom she doesn't have a grave. She chose not to do that. So I don't have anywhere that I can visit. And like you said, it's not something that you do. But I kind of wish I had some place to visit and, if I could just sit there and kind of reflect on it for a little bit. So I hope that that's something that you do. If it's I don't know, if you got to start a GoFundMe or something, you just let me know. I'd totally contribute to that.
Oh, well, thank you.
I want people to know where your mom is.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think we've kind of wrapped it up. We've talked a whole lot about your mom and really a lot about how it shaped you, and especially since you didn't have her for that long, you weren't lucky like that. So
right,
it shaped you into a business owner. So do you have any projects or anything that you're working on that the people at large might want to know about?
I have a lot of projects right now, but I'm currently working on an e-course that I'm finishing up, and it's called 4 Weeks to a Simple Healthy Kitchen. And it's an e-course basically to help you have a healthy kitchen, to actually not really taking away what you have, but adding in the good things so that you can make meals that are healthy, simple, and quick. Because I know a lot of moms are really busy and they don't have time to cook. And if they do cook, it's junky or or they go through the drive-thru or something like that. So I have this e-course. I also have a freebie on my website, 7 Must-Have Basics for Healthy Meal Planning. And it's the basic ingredients that you need to have a healthy kitchen. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so all the ingredients that you need in your kitchen at all times, so you don't have to make multiple trips to the grocery store. You don't have to make several trips through the drive-through, and you don't have to throw together that unhealthy meal that you don't want to cook.
For
so
sure.
Yeah, 7 Must-Have Basics for Healthy Meal Planning, and that's on my website as well.
That sounds amazing. So tell everybody what your website is.
So my website is so7health.com. That's SO7 health.com, HEALTH.com. And of course, I'm Toye Releford-Penny. And you can always email me, call me, chat with me, whatever you would like to do. I'm here.
That's amazing. Well, I think that people are going to listen to your story, and I think that they are going to take a lot of inspiration from you, because you are absolutely you're really a self-made human being, and you're an amazing human being at that. So
thank you.
I think people are going to listen to this, and I think people are going to want to contact you and get a hold of your e-course that you've got coming out, and your freebie for sure. That sounds awesome, by the way.
Yes. Yay!
All right. Super. Well, I've really enjoyed talking with you, and I'm so happy you came on here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, Toye is just an inspirational, amazing lady, and I'm so thankful that she came on and told her story and her mom's story. I really hope you enjoyed it as well. And go ahead and check out her website. I'll link it all in the show notes, of course, but if you want to check it out right now, you can go to S like in Sam. So it's SO7 health.com. Let me give that to you one more time. It's SO7 health.com, and check out all of the things that she's doing on there to help busy moms keep their lives in check, or get their lives in check, as I need to do with mine. And of course, I would love it if you would come and interact with me on any one of the social media platforms. So I've got a Facebook page, a Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter. I even have a Snapchat. So if you want to put on one of those silly cat filters and chat with me there, I would love to hear what you're thinking about the show, hear if you have any ideas, hear if you have any memories of your mom or anything that you want to chat with me about. I am down. So come on over and do that. And if you get a chance and you're liking the show, please do give us a nice review on iTunes or whatever platform it is that you're using. You can even review us on the Facebook page. And by doing that, you're just letting people know that this is an awesome podcast and that they should listen to it too. I'll be back in a week or two with another amazing guest, so definitely make sure to tune in for that. And until then, I hope you all enjoy yourselves. And of course, keep on sharing to keep the legacy alive.